Trigger warning. This video contains references to themes of suicide and depression, which some individuals may find distressing. New Zealand-born rapper, singer-songwriter Kings first made it big in the music scene in 2016 with his #1 hit single, Don't Worry Bout It. In 2019, he teamed up with Key to Life to record R.I.P., a song about suicide. Having lived through his own mental health challenges and having lost family members to suicide, this is a topic close to his heart. Kings, bro, I want to thank you for, like I said, off air or off camera, that you said yes, and it means a lot for this podcast because we're not this big institute. We're coming from the ground up, and the fact that, you know, in generations past, with your history in terms of, you know, music and community, we wouldn't have got to you. There would have been too many barriers, but you said yes and you're here, so I just want to say thanks.
No worries, man. thank you, Instagram.
Before we kick off, can I just ask, and I've been trying to think about the best way to phrase this, but there are people who work their butt off so we could have the pleasure of being here today. And I want to acknowledge those people. And I've been kind of called out on previous shows for saying we're not standing on the shoulders, but who do you stand with? Who are the people that you need to acknowledge for you to be able to be here today?
Mum and dad, of course. Got to start there. My mum essentially raised us. She was a solo mum. My dad was also in the picture later on. We became quite close. But each of them have influenced me hugely. Like, I mean, you know, everything I do from the way I think is mum and dad. So standing on their shoulders or standing with them, and I'd say my grandparents too. My daughter also. I sometimes feel like she's raising me a lot of the time. She's actually not with me at the moment, but we'll talk about that a bit later. So yeah, my family.
It's kind of spooky when you look back at it. Because I think what we all want is just this cruisy ship that goes through the sea. But what we get is this waka in a wild torrent ocean.
Yeah, man. Never ending either.
It's never ending. And so I think we look back, and that's useful because it maybe informs us to look forward. What do you want to be back then? What was your thinking into life, and, you know, your aspirations, your motivations?
I knew I didn't have a massive knack for school. I didn't have a massive knack for being told what to do. And so my mum and dad split when I was quite young. So solo mum, she had 2 jobs. So I was always quite creative. I'd always come up with things to kill time, I guess, till mum got home. So I used to record my own radio station using one of those tape recorders and be like, next up on the show is Kingdon. And then I'd set up drum kit out of pots and pans and do that. And I learned how to play guitar on a 3-string guitar. So a lot of killing time, but creatively. Not so much that I had a goal of what I wanted to be, but I had a knack for rhythm and sound.
And that was born out of you just having that time?
Yeah, just chilling. yeah.
So mum was working 2 jobs?
At one point.
Do you ever talk about that, like what that time was like for her?
As recent as 2 years ago on Christmas, we had our first conversation about back then. Because I don't know what it is, but when you're a kid, your parents are put up on this pedestal. You kind of, they can't do wrong and stuff. And so you have these high expectations. And then so 2 years ago, I sat with my mum and I was like, Mum, what happened? Why did you guys break up? And we sat for hours. It was the coolest conversation I've had, actually. And I got to hear her side. She was like, it was hard, man. You guys are annoying. You know, I got 3 kids. I'm like, yeah, fair. I got 1 and she's annoying. So could imagine 3. And I got to have a real honest conversation with her. And so I can see that she was just doing the best she could. It wasn't that she was hard on us, even though maybe I felt that way or maybe we did feel that way. What else could you do back then? One lady trying to raise 3 kids.
Yeah, hard out. And, you know, we have words for it today, like mental health. I wonder what she would have said about...
God, man, Karuba and cigarettes. that was her therapy. And us being quiet, you know?
True.
So, sadly, that's what I think a lot of that generation had.
Do you think that, because we learn by watching sometimes, and I wonder what is that exactly? You know, I guess technically they would call it a contributing factor. You know, if you're using things to suppress, challenge, or harm or trauma, that it is really tricky because it doesn't go away if you're suppressing it.
No, you get good at suppressing it. You get better at suppressing it. Yeah, I didn't go down the alcohol path. I didn't really drink. Didn't do I smoked a lot of weed. Didn't do the hard drugs though. So I mean, I guess I had my coping mechanisms as well. But music became the one. Yeah.
Can I be as bold to say, like, there's healing in music? I mean, this is going to sound kind of weird for many people because we just think music's music. But what is music for you? Is it entertainment? It can be a mixture. I'm not really trying to pin you to one answer.
Yeah. I mean, I would say it's like where I can't communicate effectively through language, I can do through music. So whenever I struggle to say something, I can perform it better. Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's actually a beautiful example of why something like that would be created.
Yeah.
Because it's a whole other language.
Fully.
Yeah.
A way to express without getting caught up in my head.
Did you know that was happening when you were like...
No, definitely not as a kid. No, as a kid, it's just making noise. As a kid, you're just like, you know. And you probably had a kid in your class that was always tapping and making sounds. I was that kid. But yeah, as I look back, I'm like, I was trying to distract myself from my life or what was going on. So yeah.
Is it too on the nose for me to ask what was going on? And I want to frame that because there'll be people watching and they're like, I know that kid who taps, or I'm the kid who taps.
Yeah, right.
What do you mean exactly? Do you mean am I bored, or am I trying to, I guess I want to get out of this zone of let's not suppress anymore.
Yeah.
Let's express a little bit, and then we might be able to find the next pathway. But I think part of that is being a tiny bit brave to say, man, this stuff was happening to me. And this is how I kind of not dealt with it, because I might be still dealing with it. Does that kind of register, bro?
Yeah, for sure. Man, it is still a journey now. Like I've been in anger management and therapy since I was 6 years old.
Yeah.
And then ongoing throughout my adult life. I think the easiest way to explain it, if I look back, when you're a kid, you don't have tools. You don't know how to do anything. Like you cry when you're hungry, but you also cry when you're tired. You also cry. You're all these things as a kid. So I think moving was kind of like anxiety, maybe like an anxious kind of thing. And then through the anxious, I found fun. Wow. That's if I look back. But yeah, as a kid, as I was saying before, you really don't know. You just know something's, like I'd be quite fearful of going home too late because mum would be upset. Or if I didn't eat my lunch, or if I'd messed up in class. So like a lot of things for a kid to have to be like, fucking make sure you get it right. And then be punished if it wasn't. So yeah, I can imagine if I looked at myself as a kid, it was just an anxious kid. Anxious to fuck things up. Can I swear on this, by the way?
Yeah, bro.
Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, anxious of screwing that up. So,
we carry some stuff, don't we? And, I guess the thing is that I just thought about for you, I wonder if you weren't moving, if you weren't tapping, if you weren't trying to actively find a way to cope, if you'd be sitting here the same person.
I've looked at it again more recently with the tools I have now as a positive. But it's gotten me into a lot of like dumb situations. I've kind of gone like, I don't know, let's say a friend of mine's going to do something dodgy and I'm too anxious to say no. I don't want to be left out. So I'm like, yeah, okay. And then I know I'm going to get a hiding when I get home. And like, so I've definitely put myself in silly positions because of it. But in terms of music production, I can actually make beats in seconds. Oh, not seconds, minutes. Yeah. Speed and like the kind of hyper-vigilant mindset. So there's been benefits to it.
Do you think adults watching this would recognize that in the kids they would call like, Can't you just sit still?
Yeah,
Or can't you just
ADD.
focus your energy?
I was my mum said I did get told by the school nurse that I had ADD and that I should be on Ritalin. And my mum was like, nah, you don't know what you're talking about. And she didn't like the medicine thing, so she's like, nah. And I'm grateful she didn't, because I've got nephews that are on it now, and they're different. They're different kids. Where's that spark you had? So I'm grateful that I didn't end up taking it, but I was diagnosed as ADD.
Yeah, it's worth sitting on that for a second, because I think most people would say to you, no, it's okay. We're just calming them down a bit.
Yeah.
But what are you calming? What are you taking
What
away?
are you taking? Yeah. And as I said with my nephew, it's this spark, I want to say. Like, he was energetic. And he's still energetic, but it's not the same. It's just a different energetic. And I don't know if it's good or bad. I don't know.
Were there people in your life or moments in your life that, I guess, you kind of referenced a little bit, like there was the anger management stuff, and as I guess came into kind of puberty and teenage, there's the normal thing of friends encouraging. And I guess for a lot of our people, if you are to believe statistics, they follow that path to its conclusion, whether that be going off the cliff metaphorically or being caged. What prevents you from...
Right, yeah, from going down the... What would you call that? Down the...
in some circles they call it the expected path.
The expected path.
And
right.
I just think I think it's a path without guidance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
I recorded that.
yeah. Clip that. Path without guidance.
I'm going viral.
Absolutely, man. Like, the path without guidance. When you're a kid stumbling in the dark otherwise, And so my older brother, I have an older brother who unfortunately and fortunately became the man of the house at a young age, If my parents split up when I was like, 8, 9, my brother would have been 12, 13. So what a responsibility for him. And he did go down the path that people, what would you say, expected, the expected path. But it gave me an opportunity to have other options. So as expected as it was, he gave me an opportunity to do what I'm doing. So you can't knock it,
Wow. Yeah.
It's hard, and some of the stuff he's done is hard to even, to have been a part of, or to know that he's done. But without it, we might not be talking. I might be just right next to him.
Do you remember him actively saying,
Get away? Yep.
really?
Yep. He told me, I don't want you to take photos with me. I don't want you to be around me. I'm doing what I'm doing for you guys, so you don't have to do it.
Wow.
Yeah. And so it was tempting too, because, sometimes in that life that comes with money, and that comes with like pretty girls at that time. I'm like, ooh, this is cool. But he was always like, no. Stick to music. Here's the laptop. Go make some beats.
And you did.
Fully. Yeah.
When did you first start kind of thinking, man, I can make a career out of this, like in that timeline you're laying out?
Yeah. Honestly, so I had a single called Don't Worry About It, my big single. That was when I was like, hey, it worked. Before then, you kind of just don't know, man. You try, you're throwing shit at a wall. If I'm honest, deep down, I had this urge to not be... My desire to be out of my situation was bigger than my desire for sleep. So I would rather work hard than sleep in this stink place. And I just had a daughter, and, I was getting pressure to get a job. My mum was like, go get a full-time job. Music's not going to do it. And so I had all these things like having to get me there. So I think I would have eventually got there in the end. I'm glad I have got to where I am. There was something in me deeper than just, I like it.
Yeah, so, I mean, look, I don't know how to call that, whether it's a spark or everyone's born with a gift, and it's about trying to find that How do you describe that?
A willingness to get out, man. Honestly, it was like a desire to get. I was check to check. We were doing nappies and nappies. I was a cigarette smoker back then, so ciggies and nappies. I think I was left with $20 a week. Crap, and I hated it. I was like, I need to get out of this shit. Yeah.
What did you pin your hopes on? I'll keep working. I'll just keep. What was it? Getting the laptop, and I'll do it again. I'll try again. I'll try and make another beat.
Yes, I credit it to my daughter's birth a lot of the time, but I've been digging deeper in that because that's kind of like a lazy, look cool answer. My daughter,
Right.
As I dig deep and deeper and deeper, it's like, if I don't do this, I will kill myself. I have to do something. I have to have a purpose, or it's like a train on no tracks. It's just going to sit still. And I felt that early on. I felt that I left school at 16 because I just wasn't moving. And I went to a music school, and I just felt the tracks land. It was like, whew.
Wow.
And so I know the fear of getting off those tracks scares me. So I stay on. I've stayed on since then. Yeah.
When did you really give yourself an ultimatum like that?
I think mentally for sure. I remember sitting in my auntie's basement with my daughter thinking, I have to, or this is something bad's going to happen. Either I'm going to go join my brother or I'm going to join the Fishers or something.
When you made that conversation with yourself mentally, we've got to do this or this negative stuff is going to happen, how did you know which path to take? And I guess I'm asking that for advocating for people who might be in that space now.
Yeah, right.
I want to do something. I want to do something. I need to do something. My anxiety is telling me.
Yeah.
My negative thoughts are telling me. Which path do I take? What would your advice be? What would your corridor be around trying to unlock that purpose? And I'm sorry to throw these at you because it's probably not fair of me, but it's like I just really want to make an effort for someone who looks up to you to be like, it wasn't a straight path.
Nah. I was lucky that my anxiety became rhythm based, and so I could put it into music. I have anxious friends that get very quiet and in their head, so I would encourage them to write. They don't have to share it; they can just write it down, write their thoughts. There's per person is per tool, whatever floats your boat, I guess. Music worked for me. It's not going to work for everybody. I love fighting as well. Boxing is something I do a lot of. I'd say listen to yourself. Listen to what your body's doing.
But really listen.
Yeah, really. Let's take the time to stop.
You've got the opportunity in that pain to say and maybe I'm just asking this as a question, what would get me out of this?
Yeah.
And then to really listen to that, because I'm not sure many people are ever asked or ask themselves, what is it I'd love to do?
Gosh, no, you're right.
And
I think we're asked what you want to do for a job.
Yeah.
You never ask what?
That's right.
Yeah.
And when it's about maybe survival, really take it seriously. And what a shame that lots of people, if you look at the numbers, they don't reach that point.
They don't get to us.
And that's what I think I'm fighting for here.
Yeah.
Is ask yourself.
Ask those questions.
Because if you're in that position where it's like that way or that way, choose the way, even if it seems like this massive goal. And that's what we want to show on this podcast. You did it.
Yeah.
It's not everything. It's not just because of that, but surely the idea that, hey, if I just choose to believe that if I work hard at this music thing, it'll work out.
One goal I set unintentionally, but probably exactly what we're talking about, was I wanted to make a beat a day. And that just became this, I have to do it. So I got to 320 in the year. So close. And I still was like, damn, I could do a bit about whatever. So that goal got me out of bed every day,
But it probably also gave you this awesome skill set.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
It's funny, I had a person I was talking to yesterday and they tried to make a video every day.
Oh, yo.
And they were going to do it for 10,000 days. It ended up burning him out.
Right. Is that Fraser?
Fraser.
Oh,
Yeah,
Fraser Greer.
yeah.
I did the dream. He's awesome, man. What an awesome cat.
Yeah. Shout out to Fraser. But I liked our podcast because it was about, hey, he tripped over. He realized it was too self-inflicting type thing, but the lesson was there's still something there.
You know, it started with 1,000.
Right.
It was initially 1,000. And I was even like, wow, then. I was like, yeah, man, good luck. That's going to be awesome. Then he's like, it's 10,000. I was like, all right, man. That's crazy.
You know what you just said about a beat a day? That could easily be in a suicide prevention handbook.
I think that one a day thing is like paramount to just mental health, man. Like, get up. I follow a guy called Jordan Peterson. I actually got to meet him. Very, very honored to have met him. He had this idea that was make your bed every day. And each time you do make it, it just something happens in your body that you get confidence that you can do something that you set your mind to. And you can start small with a bed, then it's like, I'm going to do my bed and maybe clean my room, go for a light walk, and you just build up to this perfect day. And then every day should feel like you control it.
When you were doing the beat a day, what wasn't happening in your mind when you had something else to focus on?
I don't think I consciously had it that way. But in hindsight, sure. I had a new daughter, so, feeding her and stuff was like, okay, if I feed her, get her sorted, and she'll be in the cot, I can make a beat. So it became like I got good at other things throughout that process. Yeah, I don't think it was a conscious decision to make a beat to quiet things, but it was like a driving force so that I wasn't thinking about anything.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like maybe, because, part of it is I hope parents are watching or looking for a resource, and maybe some of this isn't in the conscious brain, right? It's saying there's some subconscious stuff happening here.
Spiritual, maybe?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, maybe it's not a logical conversation. And even though it sometimes is forced to frame that way.
Yeah. Okay, well, if we go back to that Michael Jordan or even the Kobe kind of talk in these docos of these crazy men, right? They're just like me and you, but there's something almost wrong, like almost a little bit cuckoo. And I feel that cuckoo-ness sometimes. I'm a little bit cuckoo to stay up till 5 a.m. editing this thing that I don't have to edit. Nothing happens if I don't edit this video, right? But I have to.
What was your motivation to do the RIP song with Key to Life?
Man, so we'd had this beat, shout out Tene, awesome producer from Christchurch. And when I was writing it, we'd had a talk with I Am Hope and their team. We all came up with this idea to do a music video that we can all get behind. And in that video, we got Vodafone, we got some massive people behind it. It was so cool. And it was just all in support of suicide. He shared the numbers with me, and I know they're different now. But there was a kid who committed suicide at 12, which was like 2 years older than my daughter at the time. And I was like fuck. So I became emotionally connected to this project. So I donated some money. We did the video, and it was in order to help.
In that video, there's pictures seen of family members.
Yeah, my cousin and my uncle, had passed
By
suicide. Yeah, I can't. Gosh, I haven't dug this deep into it. Thinking about it now, I've got this block of we didn't talk about it. We didn't even talk about how it really happened. Yeah, it was kind of just like, uncle's gone, we're going to Tangi. That's so strange, man. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, we didn't talk about why. That's quite sad.
Yeah, and you have to ask what's missing in our modern culture, right? That's making us not talk, because it stays in us. It must store.
I'm almost wondering if it was they didn't want people to know. Because I was quite young, so I wasn't going to go telling everyone. But yeah, maybe it was that. Gosh, I don't think the family's spoken about it. I can't actually think of it that we spoke about it.
You know what's wild for me is if you didn't speak about it, but then you went and did the song about speaking about it.
Yeah, right.
So there must have been something deeper in you, which is like,
Well, I had a desire to help,
speak
but
about it.
but I didn't know how to, I guess. So, and again, music became the thing. Gosh, that's bizarre. That's crazy, man.
You know, the word counselling and stuff. I just made some notes that part of the song was to encourage speaking about it.
Yeah.
Getting some counselling. Man, I keep having your word, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And speaking about it, it's like those things are fighting, eh?
Conflicting
You know what I mean?
ideologies.
Yeah,
right?
you're like on this real deep level. It's like,
Yeah.
go speak about it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
And maybe
right.
that's partly true, right? We're trying to keep going.
Yeah, wow, yeah. That's so cool, yeah.
I might be going too deep.
Yeah, no, I was like, no, but because music is that as well. Music is, I personally listen to music for the gym or for when I'm trying to be inspired. I wouldn't listen to it to be sad, but sad songs are here. Heal the World is actually a sad song if you listen to it. Yeah, and perhaps subconsciously, I know that the buttering it over works. People enjoy the dancing, who cares, TikTok stuff, more than the, hey, bro, something's wrong with you or something's wrong here. Which I think we spoke off camera is actually kind of like a balance game of artistry and content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Kings today, what would you say about getting that courage to speak about it?
My close friends, we don't speak about our mamai too much. But I do have close friends that definitely talk about it. So I've got like this group that are very young at heart, still go out to the clubs and still have a good time. And that's cool, and I go out with them sometimes. And then I've got some bros that are very, very deep thinkers. They'll sit and talk to me about these issues, and we've spoke about mental health just in our group. So I don't even think those conversations would have been happening back then. I couldn't imagine my dad at the pub being like, guys, today I'm feeling pretty shit, you know? It was probably just more like, have another beer, bro, shut up.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful that we can talk like this, but I still know there's a ton of people that would rather not.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's wild to think that we're kind of these first generations through the gates, which we have to speak about it.
Yeah.
If you bottle it up, that's one of those contributing factors. You know, I've heard lots of people sitting in that seat where you're sitting today who say, if you bottle it up, it goes nowhere and it's got to come out somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a saying, to hate someone is to be drinking poison and expect someone else to get hurt. And so if you're holding that hate or anger, just damaged yourself.
You think the song a day or the beat a day helped a little bit get out?
Yeah, bro, for sure. Yeah, there's songs that I will never show anybody that are like real thoughts of mine and like real deep, and would never show my parents, would never show anyone, that were therapeutic. Yeah.
I sit here encouraging people to go to counselling. I'm sure you would do the same. What does counselling mean to you, though? Like, are you someone who's seen or been to counselling? Yeah, no, because like I think there's a bit of a taboo,
Right.
like, oh, I don't need counselling,
Oh, yeah.
and so I want to get the heroes to come in here.
Yeah.
Because Marvel and DC didn't do it for us, they only showed you the hero, always the hero, not the person who needs to, you know, All Blacks are the same problem.
Yeah, right.
Oh, look, they're amazing until they have the breakdown, you know.
And it's all over the news,
That's
sadly
right.
for them.
And how do we not get there? Well, we have people intervene along the way, and maybe one of those is a counsellor.
Yeah. I would consider this counselling to a degree. Like counselling, you're giving me counsel for my answers, and you've even helped me with my uncle and like that whole thing. I might even talk to my mum tonight. Like,
Absolutely.
so I would consider this a form of it, but a lot of us don't have the tools to do it, and that's where I know that's actually the issue. Like, you can't expect someone to build a house if they don't know how to build. So it's like, we need to give you tools, the other part of that is, do you want the tools? Can you be bothered? Are you going to learn the tools too late? And that's, I think, the struggle of this whole men's mental health is that a lot of us are so, she'll be right, until their back's sore. And then, I should have got my back checked, and too late. So that is the struggle. I've got a question, actually. I don't see what you think. Do you think you can heal too much?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think I'm someone who, my parents, and I'm the youngest.
Right.
Everyone carved a path for me. I went my whole life always healed.
Right.
I think that's why I'm trying to explore this, because I don't understand it.
Right. Wow.
I'm like, how can you have an ultimatum?
Right.
Like saying it's this way or that way. My lens is like, we're sweet.
Yeah.
We'll get there eventually, because in some ways I'm too healed.
Right. So, yeah.
I mean, I've had horrible things happen in my adult life, but because they didn't happen in my childhood, I was able to
You had some tools
cash
to-
out.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I asked my friend that question, and he kind of said a similar thing. Like he's done so much courses. He's done a few courses on how to talk, and he's like, I want to get on the field again. Like, I want to stop reading about it. But every time it comes to that point of having to use it with his wife or whatever, it gets hard again. And I'm like, yeah, like, is there a point where you go, maybe I'm just this way, or, like, and where's that point?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's been the negative of the superpower? So you can stay up till 5 making a beat.
Yeah. I had to get therapy, hypnotherapy for that.
Really?
So I was classed an insomniac, I guess. I'd sleep 4 hours a night for the first 2 years of my career taking off. Just horrible, like really bad. And I didn't know how bad it was until things started happening in my life. Like I'd have random kind of doze off, like just in the middle of the day.
Wow.
Yeah. And I went to a doctor originally, and they're like, yeah, you're low in iron and all these, like, get some sleep was essentially the thing. Sleep is where you heal. And I couldn't do it, so I went to a hypnotherapist, and she did the thing, and it actually worked. I actually sleep like 6 to 8 hours now.
Really?
Yeah, which is awesome. But that is a negative, right? I had to go and get help for something that people consider, wow, he works so hard. It's like, yeah, but I can't sleep.
What was you? Sorry, you may have said it, but I was just trying to get my head around it. What was the reason you couldn't sleep?
Yeah, so the main reason for me not to sleep was ideas just stuck in my head. I had to get them out. And not having control of my mind, I guess. So I'd be lying down, think of something, and then have to do it and just complete it.
Sleep gave your brain, body a chance to rest, literally.
Yeah, at the time it was a nuisance, sleep. I wish I could stay up forever, I'd drink a lot of V. I became addicted to sugar energy drinks, V. So I was pounding like 2 of them a day plus coffee. So I'd just be... yeah. And now, as I said, my body's now like, hold up, bro. You're not Superman,
I just can't help but feel like, we've got all of this resource that goes into suicide prevention. I'm not yet to see anything that says pick one thing a day, or you might be lacking sleep, and here's a resource on how to sleep.
Yeah.
You might need to go see somebody.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, man.
No one would ever think that you had hypnotherapy for that.
No. I struggled with weight as well. Actually, that was another huge one I did. I put on 50 kgs during the height of Don't Worry About It. And I had to get the operation to... For me, it was just I want to be here. I don't want to not be here. And so...
Is that the gastric?
Yeah, not the sleeve, though, the other one. Not the bypass, sorry. The sleeve.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so I had, for me, I was getting so heavy I couldn't move. My knees were sore and all these things. So I got this operation. And a lot of people didn't actually recognize me. Like when I was going on tour and stuff, they're like, yo. And then I'd sing the song. They're like, hey, there's Kings. But they're like, yo, Wade, you're not the same dude. And they don't want to be rude as well and be like, you're skinnier than you were before, So they're like, you're here. Like, yeah.
It's a complicated story, yeah. Life's complex.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that again, I guess, would be another the superhero powers. I was opening for TLC around that time. Cool stuff. Mentally and physically, I was the worst I'd probably been.
Would that have effects at home?
I don't, I drown myself in work, you know? I remember feeling like I was a good father. I still feel like I'm a good father. But nothing else existed between my daughter and work. Yeah, I don't remember my social life. I don't think I had one. After gigs, I would go home and make another album. I was just on. I feel like I'm actually just waking up from like a 6-year dream, like this year.
Bro.
Yeah.
That's wild. Nothing related to mental health or anything. Maybe it is, but what was it like just, I guess, exploding positively?
Yeah.
Probably 1% of people get to experience that, and that was you. Like, is it cool?
It's fast. It's very fast. I had a meeting with my manager at the time, and he said to me, this is going to be the fastest thing you've experienced. You're going to go from the kid in the garage making beats to everyone texting you and asking you. And it was true. I didn't know how to behave a little bit. Everyone's so nice to you, so you be nice back. Then you find out as time goes, some of them might have been nice for an agenda. But you learn all that stuff as you go. I'm glad I learned that way. I'd rather learn that way than people tell me and then I never experience it. So I've been burnt before. I've been burnt a lot, actually. Learned a lot and came out on the other side. Good, yeah.
And do you think when, just kind of traveling back to when you were like, I've got to make this happen or else. Am I correct there that you gave yourself that mental?
Yeah.
Did the success, is that gone now? Is that part of you that gave yourself that?
No.
Okay. Because, like, maybe that's one of the things to watch for, that people, they're like, I just got to get it. I just got to do the thing that I think I need to do, and then I'll be good.
Yeah, it's insatiable, actually. But I've learned that. And I actually feel like now I can use it as a tool as opposed to I have to. Now it's something I use to get things done. There was always this negative stigma around creatives. I don't know if maybe you've heard this or had this, but we're supposed to be late and quite tardy, and I hated that stereotype. So I was early to all my meetings. I'm early to everything. I pay people very promptly. I like to have business straight. Yeah. So yeah, that might have just been me trying to give a middle finger to people. Creatives can't do this. I was like, you want a bit? Check this out. Yeah. I think it was most stressful because it was happening to me only. As you said, it was like, it's quite a rare case that your first song is the song. And it just happened to me. And so the people that were in the game already that I could ask for guidance were like 10, 12 years deep. And so that'd been like grinding, doing small shows, then building up, where I just had that song, boom. Now I'm playing for TLC. It's like, what the fuck, So I did feel alone, and I think food was like, we always celebrate in our culture, we celebrate when something happens. You eat, and then you also eat at tangi's. And then you also eat when you welcome people onto the marae. And so, like, food. I was celebrating a lot, so I was eating a lot. And I was sad a lot because I was alone a lot. So it became this kind of just coping mechanism. I would say it was coping with the rise, the fast rise. I still might have a little bit of that negative drive there. Like, I still celebrate and eat. A good woman helps. I was in a relationship with a woman who helped me a lot. But we also argued a lot. My success came so quick. This is so dumb, but like Snapchat, you can send photos and stuff. And I'm sure most people know, but if you don't, you can send photos and they delete. And during my shows, I would get videos from these random girls after my shows, and I'd show my partner at the time, and she hated it. She's like, why are you opening them? I'm like, I'm just opening things. Like, I don't know what's behind the curtain. And so that was a huge stress, So I was coming into fame, not having the tools to cope, and having a partner that wanted the best, I think, ultimately, but had her mama going on. So it was crazy, man. You know, it was easy for me to get caught up in food and get caught up in work.
Kings, there sounds like it's like stress if things aren't going good.
Yeah.
Stress if things are going good.
Yeah.
So there's always stress.
Stress,
Are we
yeah.
cool to say that?
Yeah, for sure.
Can we take the steam out of the society by saying there's not going to not be stress?
That's a great,
Trying to find tools to cope.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
And the tools, I guess if you were to think about your tools that you've learned, what are ones that you're happy to share?
The music, when I wrote R.I.P., for example, people ask me about the song, and so I have to man up and do it. Yeah, but I've had to put myself in those positions. They didn't just happen. Like, you have to actively be like, I need help, and then source it.
So, Kings, when you think about your go-tos in terms of tools, in terms of systems that you've found to help, when whatever we're talking about, the boogeyman comes in to visit, the negative voice, what are those for you?
My daughter has been in my care for the last 13 years. I was a solo father. I just made a decision to have her move to her mum's in Australia. It's probably the hardest thing I've had to do because I've had it for so long. I had resentment toward the mum for leaving us. All these kind of things that I had to use every tool in my bucket to overcome. And one of the biggest tools was like actually surrendering. Surrendering is hard, man. Surrendering to the fact that it doesn't matter. Like what I think doesn't matter in the face of my daughter's life. That's tough, bro. That's hard. And that was something that I had to do. I had to surrender myself and say, this is not about you at all, brother. This is about your daughter. And it was tough, man. It was demons. I was fighting every night. Like, nah, she should stay with me. The mom's not good enough. Blah, 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 all this stuff. And surrendering was the tool. And the way I surrendered was by breathing. Every time things got really intense, I'd actually sit and text everyone, hey, I can't make that meeting. I need this. And I would sit and breathe and just kind of draw myself back to here. And that's from using sound. So if you can hear, there's an air conditioning unit or something. You start by that, being present. I can hear some birds, and you start to just really zen.
Okay.
And from there, I can now react unemotionally. I'm present. And then I say what I actually want to say instead of what the ego's trying to do.
That's real, true stuff, eh?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to just jump over it like people are like, oh, yeah, I hear people talk about breathing all the time.
No.
That actually really works.
Yeah, man.
And you're talking about using it when the stakes are high.
When it's really tough, yeah.
Critical.
Yes, critical, yeah. Because, like, you can hear that car, right? There's so many things that we just take for granted. We just don't understand what's going on. Right now, I'm in a room with two beautiful gentlemen, right? And I'm going to be here. Because I'm thinking about, when I get home, I got to do this. Be here. It's beautiful. It's awesome. And then when I get home, I can deal with that stuff. But for whatever reason, we do tend to just pile it on and be like, fuck, I've got this thing to do. I'll do this. I'll be half inauthentic. And hey, see you guys. But yes, surrendering and breathing are actually like great tools for people like me, anxious people.
You know, for people who are like listening to this whole podcast, and surrendering might mean something different in the realm of suicide.
Right.
But you're talking about it at a really cool level, which is like, in some ways, surrender so you don't have to.
Yeah, keep up the ruse.
Yeah. And
for me, it was surrendering the idea that I knew what was best for my daughter, a young teenage woman who's going through things that I haven't gone through, and I think I know better than her mum. I'm like, I don't. But I like to think I do, and my ego would say, you don't know shit, you know?
Do you think your parents ever surrendered to you for your story?
No, that's a good question. I believe my dad has found the tools to, and I consider him my best friend now. We're tight. We've talked about all of the old stuff, and we've been able to do that. With my mum, it's coming. It's coming. Yeah. Like I said, Christmas before last, it's the most we ever talked about our past. And her, she was no longer mum. She was this beautiful wahine. That's it. Like, telling me the story about how she raised 3 assholes, you know? And I'm like listening like, yeah, cool. It's not like, how could you say that about me? Now it's like, of course, yeah, I can imagine, you know? I almost killed my little sister by accident. We were parked on a hill, and I'd let the handbrake go, and the car just goes zooming down the hill and crashes into a thing, and I got a hiding, right? So I remember the hiding. When I told my mom the story, she's like, oh, do you know what you did? She told me that. I'm like, oh yeah, that's worth the hiding. That's worth it. Yeah, that's probably worth it. So there's these things you don't know, you know? Yeah, so.
I'm also just thinking about the parents who are watching this, where they have probably never considered, including this guy interviewing you, the idea of surrendering to your children. It's very tough to get your head around.
Very tough.
Yeah, I think about that. You know, I have a 15-year-old who's quite headstrong.
Yeah.
And he doesn't like giving me the last word.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you know the hierarchy here.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And that tough love as well, because like I was raised on tough love. There's an aspect of, I guess that was a question, can you heal too much? Because Will Smith kind of said it best. When you have a sanitary environment, if you clean something too much, there's no germs. And germs can help teach, because you get sick, don't touch that anymore. So there's a level of, if it's too clean, they might never make mistakes. And if they never make a mistake, they might never learn. So I felt like I was that. I was trying to make everything nice for my daughter, when the reality is school's tough, bullying's real. The stuff she's going through, I don't know. Real. Once you get grounded and realize, surrender.
I guess I just want to kind of, you know, bring our little voyage together in a loop, and I'm feeling really positive, because I guess for me, and tell me what your thoughts are on this, you've framed up your whole story, which is like, it's complicated, it's difficult, the hard bits are difficult, the winning bits are difficult. What's worth still fighting for? Is there a thread that you can say that someone battling right now can be like, dude, I got to keep going. I got to keep going.
I don't think there's mistakes. I believe in God. I believe in a higher power, at least. And I don't think there's a mistake why people are here. And I think hearing why, like having the tools to listen to why you're here, is all you'll need to keep you going. Yeah, it's hard with all the noise, but if you can single out your purpose, as you're saying, taking small steps toward a life that you want, small steps, very small steps. The idea is to make a step that you can win, because then ultimately the more wins you have under the belt, the better you feel. I think with those things, you'll be okay. I hope. Yeah.
I think it means heaps coming from you, bro.
Same, bro.
Awesome. If you think you or someone you know may be at immediate risk, call 111 or connect to the following services to get help. Text the Need to Talk helpline on 1737. Call the Depression helpline on 0800 111 757 or text 4202. If you would like more information on suicide prevention training and education, visit LEVAR on www.leva.co.nz. More support numbers are available in the show's description.